Okay, this is going to be really fun. Okay, Sam,
Yep.
you've got like 136 credits from Freaks and Geeks to Inglourious Basterds, Wet Hot American Summer. What's your favorite?
Oh my God. My favorite, whichever one's next.
From the heart of Hollywood, it's the Patrick Labyorteaux Show with Patrick Labyorteaux.
It's the Patrick Labyorteaux Show. Patrick Labyorteaux. He's the one you gotta know.
Tonight's episode, Samm Levine.
Patrick Labyorteaux Show. He's the one you gotta know.
All right, guys, you know him from Freaks and Geeks, Inglourious Basterds, Wet Hot American Summer, and like 130 other TV credits. He's everywhere. Now, I have no idea of how I know him, but we are friends. Please welcome my mystery friend, Samm Levine. Hey, Sam.
Hey, Patrick. What a pleasure
Good
be
to have
here.
you on the show.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Yeah.
So let's get to the crux of this.
Mm-hmm.
I know you.
Yep.
But I don't know if I know you because I know you from TV. And the first time I saw you, I said, "Hey, Sam."
Yep.
And then how do we know? Is that how we know each other?
It could be through our mutual pal, Dean Cameron. It
Okay.
could be through... I have this kind of relationship with a lot of people in LA and show business where it's the line blurs sometimes between when did I meet this person versus I know this person. Do I know them from real life or do I just know them from the work or were we at a party? And there's no other industry you can be in, I think, where that can be a question.
Right. Right. If you're a
with
plumber,
such
you
regularity.
know the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know either, but yes, I feel like I've known you for at least 20 years now.
Act 1, beginnings.
Right.
But let's talk about you, okay, Sam?
Okay.
That's what we're here for. Now, I'm going over your history here because since we're such old friends, I know everything about you. But I'm going over your history, and it reads like you started off in the 1940s as a stand-up.
Yep.
But how did you really? It's
Yeah,
like
me-
you've got
me and
this
Shecky
history
Green.
of exactly. It's like you could have been, like working the Poconos, based on how it reads. But
Yeah.
how did you get into acting, and why? And what was it that said I want to be an actor?
So it didn't start with me wanting to be an actor. It started with me wanting to be a stand-up comedian. When I was 11 years old, in the year of our Lord, 1993, the late great Richard Jeni, great comedian, great stand-up comic, had an HBO comedy hour called Platypus Man.
Yep.
And it changed my life when I saw that. Because I'd heard stand-up comedy before. I'd maybe even seen stand-up comedy on TV before. But it wasn't until that particular special that something clicked in my brain. And I said, oh, that looks fun. Oh, that looks like something I think I would really enjoy doing. And so I started immediately. I memorized every word of Platypus Man, and I started to try to write my own jokes in that style. And
That's a tough style to pull off because Jenny
man.
was such a genius. I had the opportunity to work with him on a voiceover just for half an hour, 2 hours, or whatever it was, and it was a thrill because I'm like you. I still quote women. Women will accuse you of. Women will accuse men of things that they're incapable of comprehending.
if you don't mind, he's doing
Please,
a Casey Kasem, and he says it's requests. This one goes out to every guy who's ever been accused of a really complicated, intricate plot that not only didn't you do, you weren't even mentally capable of thinking it up.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
And that to me always made so much sense. It was so true and was so funny. So I get it. So you're looking at Richard Jeni. And again, at that time, you could turn on any cable channel and there was a brick wall and somebody telling jokes.
Yep.
But Jeni was different. It was like,
Yeah.
there are these guys that come along. And so you start writing.
So I started writing. Now, admittedly,
comics how
my
old were
written
you?
jokes. I'm literally 11 years old, and my written jokes are terrible. Because obviously he's an adult with decades of comedy experience. I'm 11.
Sure.
But I started basically blending his humor with mine because he's talking about sleeping with women and getting drunk. And I cannot, as an 11, about to be 12-year-old, write jokes like that. So I'm changing bits here. I'm making it sound like it's more from my own voice. And
Right.
so I started, like I said, I memorized it. Like that was my job. And so not long after that, my sixth grade class, the teacher, their music teacher, asked me to host the talent show at my elementary school. We had a K through 6. And so I said, sure, I would love to MC. Can I do some of this stand-up?
Here's my writer.
Yeah. And so, she made me clear it whether I wasn't doing any adult material. I did a piece.
You didn't work blue.
No, I did a piece from his Bill the Belching Gourmet bit about late night television. And so it was super fun. Like I said, I kind of tailored it to my own voice, but largely it was his material. And it was super fun and ridiculous. And the best part was all my classmates got to see me do it. And so now I'm 12 and they saw that. And not long after that was the rash of bar and bat mitzvahs from all my Hebrew school classmates that I went to school with. And so I don't remember how and when it first happened, but because they all saw me do it, every time I was at one of these bar or bat mitzvahs, one of them would say, "Hey, Sam, do you want to go do more of those jokes that you did at the talent show? Like the DJ said you can do it while everyone's eating." I said, "Sure, I'll take a captive new audience." And because I'd memorized the whole show,
Right.
I had so much material of Rich's to do and some of my own jokes. And so that's literally what I would do. I must have played a dozen plus bar and bat mitzvahs or benai mitzvahs.
You had the mitzvah circuit tied up.
I really did. The northern New Jersey mitzvah circuit of the early to mid 90s. And so
now, is this true that you were the youngest person to join the Friars Club? I'm
that is
sure
true.
That this is
that is true.
How do you get from bar mitzvahs to
I will tell
preeminent?
I will tell you. So the best bar mitzvah I ever played was my friend Jason. He was fancy. His bar mitzvah was in New York City, and so he asked me if I could do some time. I said sure, I do it. And lo and behold, Jason's cousin is Lisa Kudrow.
Oh wow!
And this was when Friends had just started.
Oh wow!
And so I mean, it's as you remember, it was a smash hit right out of the gate.
Yeah.
And so it was a big deal that she was there and I knew, and I didn't get too much stage fright. I did my thing. I went and I sat back down, and then she got up to leave on the early side and she came over to say hello. And she said, "Hey, that was really funny. I've never seen a kid do stand-up like that. You must be a professional." And I said, "Oh, no." She said, "Oh, really? You seem like you were polished and you should be. So, that's something you might want to explore down the road." And I was like, "Oh, okay, thanks. How do I do that?" And she said, "Oh, it's New York. Go buy Backstage Magazine. Go to the back. You'll find ads for managers and agents and call them. They'll walk you through it." And I said, "Okay, great. Thank you so much." So I go home and I tell my mom, Lisa Kudrow from the brand new show Friends, told me that we have to buy something called Backstage Magazine and I have to find representation who will walk us through what to do next. And can we curse here?
Yeah.
Great. I shit you not, Patrick. We bought Backstage Magazine. There was an ad in the back that said, "Are you a kid who does stand-up?
Sam?
Call Gold Star Talent Management." And that is how I
wow.
got my first manager, the wonderful Sid Gold, who is the father of Elon Gold, who you probably know as well.
A comedian, a stand-up.
And so his dad, Sid, was my first manager. And through Sid and Elon's buddy Jeffrey Ross, they helped me develop an act fully in my own voice, no more Rich's material. And then they helped get me stage time in New York. So because I was doing stand-up, Elon and Jeffrey Ross used to bring me to the Friars Club when I was a teenager. When I was 14, 15, 16, they would bring me. I wasn't drinking or doing anything weird there. I was just hanging out. It was super fun. But it is supposed to be an over 21 like members only club. And we were, it was a gray area for me to be in there. And so when they introduced me to Freddie Roman and Dick Capri and Alan King, and they said, "Oh, this kid's a comic, we got to make him a member." And they were like, "Yeah, it's an over 21 club. I don't know. We don't need that." And so it was Freddie Roman who said, "You know what? Come back when you're 18. We'll figure it out."
Right.
And so when I was 18 years old, the minute I turned 18, I went back with Jeff Ross and I said, "Let's go. I'm filling out my application. Let's do this." And
right.
And so I don't know what Freddie did, what he had to say to who, or if nobody was looking, but they made me a member right after I turned 18. And it's my understanding no one had ever been inducted that young before or since. So yes, I held the title as youngest inducted friar.
Well, you have this experience that I had because I'm older than you, of course. Mm-hmm. But when I was doing Little House in the 70s, we would get to work with people who were from the movies from the 30s and 40s. Because now they're older and they're doing TV. And, just dropping the name of Freddie Roman, it's like this would be the place where old comics go to hang out, drink, and tell the stories. And so you had that experience of like listening to these kind of legends. What was that like?
That was incredible. And I am so glad that at that point I'd learned enough about comedy. And also I have to give proper dues to my parents for raising me to appreciate that, for raising me listening to Tom Lehrer and Lenny Bruce albums and explaining who these Borscht Belt comics were. And my father, to his best abilities, recalling old acts of theirs he had heard on the radio, because he knew I loved the world. And so, and my grandfather too, my mother's father, he was also very attuned to that. And so when I got there, and I know who Alan King is, beyond his work as an actor, like the stuff that I know his legendary comedian status, and so. I find myself sitting at a table in one of the bars there with Alan and Freddie and Dick Capri and Richard Belzer and all these New York icons. And they're just shooting the shit. And they're talking about this, they're talking about that. One of them says, "Oh, yeah, no, and I remember I had to open for Sinatra at the Copa. What was that, 60, 61? And he's telling me he's not ready to go on. I got to stretch. I'm out there for an hour and a half. I'm doing crowd work with people who, they've been my neighbors for 50 years. I don't know." And it was just these incredible stories.
We'll be back after these messages. Have you ever thought about becoming an actor and making your friends and family jealous? Well, have I got a deal for you. Here at Working Actors School, we offer many different classes so you can become a famous actor like me. And we have a delightful selection of classes, including Adult Weekly. It's every Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific. Here you will learn how to be an actor with other adults. How do we do it? How is it possible? Is it a miracle? Yes, it is. A miracle called Zoom. We teach everything online so you can become a famous actor and impress your friends and family. So if you want to be a famous actor and make your friends and family jealous, then you need to sign up at Working Actors School. You can get a hold of us at workingactorschool.com. You can sign up for classes at workingactorschool.com. You can make a reservation for the class online at workingactorschool.com. So come check us out. It's workingactorschool.com. Act 2. Success. When I was doing the research, I forgot that Paul Feig created it. I thought it was a Judd Apatow thing, but it was absolutely it's Paul, and then
Paul's
Judd
life,
was the producer. This show was not like the other shows. This show was not like anything that had ever been on. Obviously, if you've seen the show, you know it, that you know why it's different. But it was just this really weird slice of life from an era that I remember living through, but I don't know if you were old enough to have lived through it as well.
I'm not quite old enough. It's a little before my time. It's just a shade before my time, but I fully got it because I was
relationships and characters never change, but the references might.
Right. And I was raised on 70s and 80s comedies, so the look of what they were going for made perfect sense to me.
Yeah.
And yeah, I agree. I knew the minute I read the pilot. So when I went into audition for Freaks and Geeks, it was
Right.
just before my 17th birthday, and the breakdown for the characters, all the geeks, basically said, they like doing impressions with their friends. They're comedy nerds. They love Monty Python, which was me up and down, and
Yeah.
so I used to do in my act a really bad impression of William Shatner. And so because it said they like doing impressions with each other, when I went in to read, a pre-read just for Allison Jones, casting director, before we started, there was, do you have any questions? And I said, no, actually, it says he does impressions. I have some impressions I do in my stand-up act. Can I do them for you? I don't know. And so she said, yeah, we'll do it at the end. So I went in and I read. In fact, I read for the John Daly role, the Sam Weir role, when they first brought me in. Because he's supposed to be like undersized, and I've always been my whole life. So that's what I read for. And then at the end, I turn to her in the camera. Okay, now? Sure. And then I do, my, oh.
Hello, I'm William Shatner. Tonight on Rescue 911, my toupee flies off into the face of a small girl.
My terrible William Shatner impression. And when Judd was looking at the tapes, he did not care for my audition, but he loved the terrible Shatner impression. And so that's why he put me on the callback sheet for Paul Feig, who was coming to town next to do all the callbacks. He didn't think I was particularly strong as an actor, but he thought, this kid will give Paul a laugh if he does his Shatner for him. And that's all he wanted. He just wanted to give Paul a laugh. And God bless Paul Feig, who saw me. I read again for Sam Weir. I did the Shatner. And then he said, hey, that was really funny. You know what? Can you read for this other character instead? Take the sides outside, take a few minutes, come back and do that. And so that's why I got to read for the role of Neil, was because Paul saw me do that. And then I came back in, I read for Neil, and then he really liked that. And so then I think the next day they had me come back again, and now Judd was there, and Paul was there, and Jake Kasdan, our director, was there. And so now I did it for the three of them. And then this time they basically had me start with the auditions, or with the impressions rather. And so I started with Shatner again. And he says, do you do anybody else? And I was like, I'm Michael Keaton from Beetlejuice, Kramer. Sure. And I'm just making up impressions that I don't
You should have hit him with a Richard Jenny. They would probably have appreciated that.
But then we all started talking about stand-up. And at that point they knew I was like a working comic in New York. And then they all started telling me, Judd was like, oh, yeah, I did stand-up when I was 16. Paul, yeah, I was 15, I was 14. Jake's like, yeah, I've never done it, but, you guys are crazy. And so that's how we connected at that audition. And, they liked what I brought to the role of Neil, and then I got the part.
All right, so let me, just for the people who don't know, who didn't see Freaks and Geeks. Freaks and Geeks is about a school in the Freaks and Geeks who go to school in the 80s. And the cast was John Francis Daley, James Franco, Seth Rogen, Jason Segel, Martin Starr, Joe Flaherty, Busy Phillips, Dave Allen, and you, along with 100 other people that became famous after that.
Did you say Linda Cardellini? Because I think she's
Linda Cardellini, of course. I mean, my God, such a big crush on her.
Yeah, who doesn't?
Right. So, and now, like, practically Linda Cardellini's in the Avengers, John Francis Daley's writing Spider-Man, James Franco had an epic run of movies, Seth Rogen runs the town, Jason Segel, it's just all of these people, and you're connected to all of them. But at the time, you don't know any of these people. And so you're starting to work on this. How was it when you guys all started working together? How was the relationship between the cast members?
I mean, it was great in as much as we all loved being there and making this fantastic TV series. But the funny part is, looking back now, there's going to be sibling rivalry. There's going to be little infighting. There's going to be clashes of personality. And what Judd and Paul and the writers were doing was picking up on it. and then incorporating it into the episodes. And so I had this thing where I didn't like it if people messed up my hair. Because it took the hair and makeup team like a while in the mornings to get us to look a certain way, and they'd asked me to grow my Jufro out a little bit, to be more of the time period. And so anytime anyone touched it purposely or accidentally, I would always be like, come on, like Travolta in Urban Cowboy or Saturday Night Fever. It's my hair, and so Martin would do it on purpose because to get a rise out of me, and I would snap at him, and of course that wound up in the show,
right?
And so there was so many more instances and opportunities like that weren't just from the geek side. It was also on the freak side. The way they would interact with each other at lunch, in between scenes, the writers and Judd and Paul were paying attention. And
did you guys kind of end up in those camps where you guys would hang out as geeks and the freaks would hang out together? Or was it not that obvious?
Well, when we were shooting the show, typically we would only have scenes with each other. There wasn't a whole lot of crossover between the freaks and the geeks. So I spent the bulk of my time on set with John and Martin, but Martin and I were very close in age. He and I are both born in 82. John was like 3-ish years younger than us. 3.5-ish almost. So a couple of 17-year-olds and a fresh 14-year-old. We didn't have quite a lot enough in common. Those are two pretty specific ages. So like socially, Martin and I would hang out in the era, around that time more than I would hang out with John. But certainly on set, the three of us would hang out. You know how long the downtime is in between scenes on a single camera, hour long. We'd have an hour plus to kill sometimes just hanging around on set with each other. So we all got.
I'm always interested though, because in I did a movie Heathers where we were definitely broken into different categories. Thank you. It's my favorite. I love Heathers. But the very first sequences in this cafeteria where we're broken into the different cliques. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, maybe it was just because it was a film or however you look at it. We really wanted to follow all the actors kind of just fell into those cliques. And that's kind of how we behaved with each other. TV's a little different in that you're there for a lot longer and it's a lot more time. Yeah. And that's why I was asking, because it's, it's an interesting, Freaks and Geeks, it's literally bifurcated into those types of worlds.
We wound up doing so many different events while we were shooting the show, stuff for like the Paley Festival and whatnot. So we all did spend a fair amount of time together as a group or the actors. But certainly when we were shooting, I would say I spent the bulk of my time with those guys. But, in the years since, whenever we're all together, it's always really, really special.
Well, of course. You guys have such, it's the origin story for so many different careers that it's like me in Little House. When I go back to Little House, it's like I forget that these people that I was doing the show with, we were all like 12 and 11. It's like you're kids, just like you. You and Martin were hanging out when you were teenagers, and now you're not. And so it's like you've known each other, and all of them, of course, but like you said, you come into this show. It's stacked with Jake Kasdan and
our writers, Mike White.
Mike White
was on our writing staff.
For those who don't know, that's the
White Lotus
show. White Lotus, and it's like plus a 1,000 other great things. Oh. And for the people that don't understand, when you're doing a TV show, you'll do a pilot, then you'll get picked up, then there's this excitement, then you've got a paycheck, and then it's like, oh, I've got a career, and then you do maybe 3 or 4 episodes before it comes out, and then it comes out, and then all of the realities hit, which is either it's a big hit, it's not a big hit, or we don't know what's going to happen. Which one was it for you guys as far as when it started airing?
People will not believe me. Young people don't believe me when I say we premiered on NBC on Saturday night.
Oh, man.
At 8:00. Saturday night, September 25th, 1999, was the premiere of our show. And we had a big party at Planet Hollywood, in LA to watch the premiere of the show. All the cast and crew was there. And, hopes were high. And the numbers were, for a Saturday night premiere, not terrible.
Right.
And then I think we were on the following week. And then the numbers went down a little bit. And then the worst horrible things happened. NBC, for whatever reason, bought the rights to the World Series that year. So I think we missed 2 Saturdays because of that. And then, this is terrible, but I believe there was like a plane crash off the coast of California Saturday afternoon. And all the news coverage that day, anywhere further west than like Central or maybe even Eastern, everything got preempted for this terrible story. And I've talked about this in the past. I will talk about it openly. I am not a fan of revisionist history, so I will name names. The president of programming at the time was a guy named Garth Anseer.
Right.
Garth, they brought him over from the WB. Because
I used to work at the WB, so I know Garth. Yeah.
He brought them Dawson and Felicity and all the big attractive young people shows.
Right.
And he was right. Those shows sold to the right audience, done the right way, are going to be hits. He's good at what he does.
Right.
He was not good at understanding our show because Garth was raised in a very different world than the rest of us. Garth was raised with tremendous wealth. Garth was raised going to boarding school. He did not
His name is Garth.
He did not understand the regular, average American high school experience where everyone hates you and you hate yourself. He didn't click with him. And all he kept saying to Judd was, these guys need more victories. It's so sad to watch. It's such a bummer. And Judd was like, that's the point of our show! Is that real life, there are no victories. It's horrible. You have to pretend that something is a victory that isn't just to get through the day. Right. And Garth didn't get that. And the other executives at NBC tried to tell him, no, it's good. You got to give it a chance. But he didn't get it. And so it's up to him whether or not we air an episode. And so I think our first 13 or 15 weeks we were supposed to be on the air, I think we aired 5 episodes.
Please tell me you ended up calling him Garth Vader.
No, I've still never actually met him in person. But just to tag that story, because I said I don't care for revisionist history. A handful of years ago, we did a documentary. I don't say we. A documentary was made about Freaks and Geeks. And Garth, for the first time to my knowledge, was willing to sit down for an interview and talk about his role in everything. And look, he's not going to sit there with a straight face and say, I didn't get it. That's why I didn't give it a chance to succeed.
Right.
But that is what happened.
So you guys do this run, you're working, and then I always say you got to watch the craft service table, because if the food starts going away from the craft service table and you end up with just waters, you're going to be canceled. How did you know you were going to get canceled?
The exact same way, Patrick. We joke about it all the time. It's been a 25-year running gag now. Jason Segel has talked about it. I've talked about it. That was the tip-off for us. When the show started, we had this incredible spread at Crafty every day. And by the last few episodes, it was like there was sliced bread, a jar of peanut butter, some cookies from Costco,
and the craft service people just aren't there because they're looking for their next gig.
Yep.
So you're a young actor. You had this TV show, which is good no matter what. I mean, 8 million people still see you. You're starting off in the business, and then look, you've got so much work here that we're only going to be able to hit a couple of these things, but at some point you get involved with David Wayne and those guys over at Wet Hot American Summer, but I don't know at what point that is versus Not Another Teen Movie, which again,
those are pretty close to one another. So Freaks and Geeks ended, we wrapped it up in March, April of 2000. Actually March of 2000 was our wrap, and my 18th birthday, in fact. And and so that show ends, and then over the summer of 2000, spring, summer, was when they were doing Wet Hot American Summer in New York. Or on the East Coast, I should say, was where they shot it. And I was still living in LA, and so I was auditioning for the role of Artie, the camp DJ in the movie. And so I was doing old school self-tapes, full-size VHS on the camcorder, doing the scene.
Ka-chunk.
Yes, and I'm overnighting him via FedEx to David Wayne in New York, and we did like 3 different takes. I would send it in, and he would call me the next day, and he would say, "Hey, I just watched your tape. I want you to send me another one. Try this." And I would do a different one. I would overnight that. Okay, one more time, try this. I sent that in, and then radio silence. And I don't hear anything, and I figure, all right, it's not. And then it was months later that he called me and said, hey, the kid we got, he looked really good, and he was really funny, but the quality of his voice, we wanted something different because of the voiceover is so important for the movie. So I don't know, is there any chance can I fly you to New York and have you dub the lines? Is that something you'd be willing to do? And so I said, sure. So that's how I became the voice, albeit not the body, of Artie the DJ in the movie. And then years later, when they revisited the series for Netflix, or the movie for Netflix as a series, they brought me in again as the voice of a totally new kid in the first go.
That's
and then
hysterical.
The second one, because it takes place 10 years later, finally I got to be on camera as Artie. So that's
so
how
you've
I got
had
involved
this
with
amazing. I don't think it was a plan, because I don't think you could plan it. But you've had this amazing experience of, if you have a Venn diagram of circles, like the old Borscht Belt comics, the Judd Apatow universe, and then the David Wayne universe, which is completely different comedians. But with those 3, it's almost everybody, literally. I mean,
it feels like it, yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about not another teen movie.
Sure, man.
Man, I just fucking love this movie. I loved it when it was out. Obviously, another killer cast.
Yeah.
And at that time when comedies would go to movies in theaters, this was a really good version of that. How did that all go down for you?
That was an audition like any other. And that wound up being my first on-camera feature film. Because Wet Hot American Summer had come out, or was about to come out, but I knew I was just, audio only in that. So my character in that movie is effectively a riff on Seth Green's character in the 90s film Can't Hardly Wait.
Right.
Because his character is this very sheltered suburban white kid who is acting like he is from a very different culture. I don't even know that you could get away with that character today.
No, I think that's what's so fun about it, is that it's you're laying waste to things that in 16 Candles was just thought of as comedy.
Exactly. And so it's a meld of Long Duck Dong and Seth's character from Can't Hardly Wait. And when I went in to read for it, I think the thing that pushed me over the edge on that one, honest to God, was that I pointed out I grew up in a place called Fort Lee, New Jersey, right outside of Manhattan. And what was crazy to me about Fort Lee that I didn't really realize till afterward was it was such a big melting pot. There was many, many different types of people there, and there was a high percentage of Korean, Chinese, Japanese kids that I went to school with, and it was just like any other kid to me. But as we got older and started going through high school, we also had African-American kids, and the prevailing culture in the mid-90s was no, hip-hop culture, rap culture is very cool. So every kid in school, black, white, Asian, all were, hey, what's up? What's up, G? And it always struck me as so funny, thinking wait a minute, I saw Korean teenage guys acting like they had just dropped a hip hop album. I've seen this in real time, earnestly. And so I talked about that at my audition in front of the director and the producers. I was like, I know you guys are going for comedy here, but I swear I've seen this in real life with my own eyes. I have seen
Right.
white kids pretending to be cool Korean kids who are pretending to be the cool black kids. And so, I talked about that. We all had a big laugh, and then I just did this character that there's no way you would see that in a movie or TV show today. No way.
What up, my yellow brothers? Cheeks in the house!
And it worked. And I think that movie has aged in some ways really well, in some ways, like so many things of the era, not so well. But I do like to think of it. People will often say it was like the last really great spoof movie, parody movie from that era, because then they did start churning them out after that. And I'm not going to name titles.
No, it was definitely. I think it was the
that,
nexus of where all of those scary movies came from, and like all.
Yes,
which again, they run hot and cold. Some of them are great. Some of them are okay.
Yep.
But I think what's different in what you talk about, because again, I'm dropping as many credits as I can. I was in Blazing Saddles, and everyone goes, "Oh, Blazing Saddles! Yeah, you couldn't do that movie today." It's like, yeah, you could. You could do. You can do Not Another Teen Movie again. Right. You can do that now because what you were doing was parody, making fun of what was being set up straight in 16 Candles.
I agree with exactly what you're saying.
Eric Olsen, what's his name?
Yeah, Eric Christian Olsen, Chris
Eric
Evans.
Olsen. Chris Evans was in it.
Pre-Captain America, Chris Evans.
And so this movie comes out, kind of cements you in this role of, the geek and this type of zone. Did you think of yourself as having a career at this point and what you wanted to do with it? Or was it like you were just happy to be working and just moving forward?
So when Freaks and Geeks ended, I had a real moment where I thought this could be it. I had been an avid enough TV watcher that I knew I'd seen shows come and go on the air. And then I realized I'd never seen some of those actors again in anything.
Right.
And so I thought that could be me. And I was sort of prepared for that. And I did panic. Actually, the very first job I took after Freaks and Geeks ended was a writing job on a game show on the USA Network called Strip Poker. Yeah, that's real. And so I panicked. I was like, oh my God, I got to do something. I have to keep working.
Yeah.
I got to tell myself I'm supposed to be here in show business. And I worked there for a brief while, and then I booked a pilot. And so then I had to leave to go do that. And then I started working more on TV as a guest star, and I got to do some films. And so what I told myself at the time was, all right, I'm 18 now. This is theoretically when I should be going to college. So I will give myself 6 months. If I don't book any work after 6 months of trying, I will enroll in college locally here. I could claim residency now. So I'll go to Pierce or something local and just build a real life for myself and continue to try to do acting as I can. And I never went 6 months. Somehow, some way, I always just booked something else, and I was as shocked as anyone. And so after a couple years, I thought, okay, I guess this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, it seems to be going well enough. And originally, yes, I did get sort of bummed at the idea of typecasting, and oh man, they keep asking me to play another geek, another dweeb, another nerd.
Right.
And then I just embraced it, and I realized, would I rather be playing a nerd, a geek, or whatever, people seem to think of me, or not have any career whatsoever? Because those really were kind of the two options. And once I had that epiphany, I thought, well, this is fine. I don't mind this. And you know what? It's easy at this point. So I'm going to enjoy it.
You did end up doing a show called a couple episodes on Undeclared, which is the follow-up kind of
the follow-up series
to
Freaks and Geeks. Yep, was on Fox a year.
And was
so
that
later.
a thing where Judd just calls you and says, "Hey, will you come and do this?" Or was it like, did you have to audition? Okay.
No. Judd just brought me in on that one. I think he brought the bulk of the Freaks and Geeks cast in on that one. By the way, I honestly think only like Linda and John Daly and maybe James Franco were not on it, but I know I was, Seth was, Jason was.
Well, I think Seth
Busy
famously
was.
started like what you did. He went in as a writer.
Yeah, he was a writer and
an
an actor on the show. No, that show was super fun. And my character was so unlikable on that show. And that's another one of where I felt like, even though my character was unlikable, for some reason, the cast did not like me.
Wow.
And I thought, I was
Wow.
like, no, are you guys confusing me with my character? I want to be friends. I'm friendly. But I don't know. I think I was a dick.
We'll be back after these messages. Hey there, I'm Patrick Labyorteaux, and I've been an actor since I was a little kid, so I know what it's like to be a little kid actor. So I have a class here called Youth Weekly, and that meets every Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific, and it is an awesome class if you are young and want to learn all about acting. We have a great set of kids, and it's taught on Zoom, so you can do it from anywhere. You can do it on your phone, you can do it on your laptop, on an iPad. It's awesome. I've had kids take a class while they were in the car coming back from soccer practice. I swear to you. So if acting is in your blood, come to workingactorschool.com and check out the Youth Weekly class every Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific. I'll see you there. Act 3, present day. Well, so you're doing the acting thing, you're moving along, you're doing these movies, you're getting work. And again, if you look at the guy's IMDb, you know that he's right when he says he hasn't stopped working in every 6 months. There's always something clocking in. But then Inglourious Basterds comes along, right? Now, Inglourious Basterds is in the oeuvre where, Pulp Fiction has come out. It's Quentin Tarantino. So this is Quentin Tarantino. Did this come out? Yeah, this came out after Kill Bill or before.
It did. Kill Bill came out in 2003
Right.
and 4-ish, I think, or maybe
Right.
both.
So
03,
Inglourious
2003.
was the next Quentin Tarantino film. All your eyes are on it. As an actor, what happens when you get the call from your agent says you're reading for the next Quentin movie?
So I had met Quentin twice before that. I made it a point to meet Quentin because I continue to be one of his biggest fans. And he was, my favorite working filmmaker. And when I remember I would see Judd years after Freaks and Geeks had ended, he would mention things casually. He'd be like, "Oh yeah, I had dinner last night with Paul Thomas Anderson, Quentin Tarantino. They both like Freaks and Geeks." I was like, "I'm sorry, what? They know the show?
They know they've
So
seen
like
my
if
face.
I saw them somewhere, I wouldn't be an insane person if I went and tried to introduce myself." And so, side story, I had become friendly with Jimmy Kimmel for a handful of years. And then in 2003, I think was when his show on his late night show started on ABC. I want to say that was January of 2003. And so his green room at Jimmy Kimmel Live, the first handful of years when the show was actually live, was one of the best green rooms in town. And the first year or so he did the show, people don't remember this, he had a rotating guest co-host who would sit on the couch with him every show.
Oh, that's right.
For the whole week. And one week he got Quentin to do it. And so because I could get into that green room, I called up and I was like, yeah, I got to come in the green room. I got to hang out. I got to meet Quentin. And so that is exactly what I did. He was there promoting one of the Kill Bills, and I went in to forcibly introduce myself to him, knowing that Judd had said he saw the show, and apparently he liked it. And so I went to say hello to him, and he was, "Oh, hey, oh, yeah, Freaks Geeks, oh, what's up, man?" And so we had this wonderful interaction that night. And we get to chatting after the show. We're in Jimmy's large dressing room with a bunch of other people. We're sitting on the couch. We're talking about this. We're talking about that. We're talking about Kill Bill. We're talking about Freaks and Geeks. We're talking about Regis Philbin's history in television. Just the most insane conversation. And we're just going on and on and on. And obviously he loves films. I love films. And before I know it, we're the only two people left in Jimmy's dressing room. Everyone has gone home. Security guy walks in, goes, "Hey, I'm really sorry, but we can't leave until you guys do. Are you almost finished?" And we leave. We realize we're the only ones there. And so as we're walking out, he's like, "Hey man, it's been really great chatting with you. I'd love to work together someday." And I said, "Yeah, that'd be all right." So now it's 4 years later, and I hear that he is seeing actors for these roles in Inglourious Basterds, and he's specifically looking for funny, comedic, actually Jewish guys in their mid-20s. And I'm like, well, I'm 26. I am Jewish and known as a comedic actor. So if this doesn't happen, I don't know what went wrong. So like I call my agent and say almost that exact thing. Like, here's what I'm hearing. He's looking for all of these things. If you guys don't get me a meeting, there's going to be a problem. So thankfully they were able to get me a meeting easily. And I go in, and his first meeting, he's just shooting the shit with people. He doesn't want them to read yet. He just wants to get a feel for who they are. And so I went in and did just that. Like, I walk in, and God bless him, he remembered me, and we just start chatting again. We talk for like 30 minutes. It's so, going very well. And at the end of it, he asks, "Oh, have you read the script?" And the answer is yes, because I had found a leaked copy online.
Okay.
But I was so afraid to say yes to that. When he asked, "Have you read the script?" I was like, is he testing me? Does he want to know if I found the leaked copy and read it? So
he famously just canceled a movie he wrote because the script
I know.
leaked.
The critic, I guess. Anyway, so I was like, "Oh, no, I haven't." He goes, "Okay, well, we'll get you the script and, take a look at this role and this role. And, I don't know, come back in next week. We'll do some reads." And so I basically memorized every scene for like 2 different characters. And I went in and the next week and I read with him, and I'm very purposely saying with him and not for him, because that is how Quentin does his reads. He is your scene partner.
Wow.
And he turns it into a real scene. Like, he will get close to you and he will act with you. And he's got casting with the camera, and they're moving around. They're shooting it like it's a real scene in a movie.
Just a second about how that's different for you as an actor when you actually got, because usually what happens is you'll go in and read with the casting director, who aren't bad people, but they're not actors. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they might have an assistant or a reader just read with you. Yeah. And that person is kind of like vanilla, but Quentin's not vanilla.
Oh no.
So what's it like when you're reading with the guy who wrote the stuff?
It is unbelievably intense and adds such a different amount of pressure to the situation, because I am watching him watch me from 1.5 feet away, watching every little micro expression on my face, because I'm thinking in his mind, he's thinking, if I do a close-up, what's it going to look like?
Oh my God.
What's this guy's face going to look like on a close-up? And so, I mean, it heightened the experience to an 11 for me, honest to God. And so we read for a couple different roles. And then at one point, he has me reading a Donnie Donowitz monologue that isn't even in the movie. Right. They shot it, didn't make the movie. And it's an incredible monologue. It's an incredible scene. That they did shoot, but again, unfortunately, it's not in the movie. It's where Donowitz, it's a flashback to him in Boston before he leaves for war, where he takes his famous baseball bat around to all the Jewish families in the neighborhood and asks them to sign the names, write the names of their relatives on the bat so he can take the bat and get vengeance for them. And Cloris Leachman is who his scene partner is in this incredible scene where she explains the dangers of war, why it's not a good thing, and then he explains what he thinks is going on over there and why it's important for him to do it. And she says, "You know what? Go kill some Nazis for me." And it's a great scene, and it breaks my heart that, I've gotten to read it. You can find that script online, by the way. If you want to read it, you can definitely read it. I don't think the footage will ever get released. But anyway, so we do that scene. It's intense as hell. And I'm in there for a while with him, reading all these different characters, doing all these different scenes. It's great. I felt good as an actor afterward about what I had done. Like I didn't, like I always do after an audition, second guess, this take, that take, this choice, whatever. Like I left and I thought, look, at the end of this, if I don't get the role, I'll always have that experience.
Right.
I'll always be able to say, no, he was my scene partner. We worked together. I felt great about it. You know, whatever, it didn't happen. I'm still going to see the movie. I'm still going to love it. And that could be the end of it and that'd be okay. And then I hear nothing for 2 weeks. And I'm losing my mind. And so when I'm losing my mind, I get on a plane, I go to Chicago, I go see the Cubs. That's my team. That's my happy place. And so that's where I was when I get the call. And it was hilarious to me because the call was, hey, they're going to offer you the role of Hirschberg. And I thought, great. I didn't read for that. Terrific. A third role. Let's do it. And so that's what happened. And like there is a book about to come out later this year about Bastards. And I feel like I've talked about this before. Quentin was very honest with me afterward. He's like, well, you were going to be Yudovich if we couldn't get BJ Novak to get away from The Office.
Oh, man.
And I was like, oh, okay, because that is one of the roles I read for. And that's the one I first read for. And then he said, and originally I wanted David Krumholtz to be Hirschberg, but he couldn't get away from numbers. But even if he had, you were going to be this other bastard. So Quentin said I was going to be one of the bastards no matter what, just which bastard depended on the other actors' availability for they couldn't get away from their TV shows for how he wanted to slice it all out. And so for Office fans, when you're watching, I can't remember what season it is, when BJ's character says he's got to go to Thailand, on a trip to Thailand, and he's going to be gone for a while. That's where he went. He went to Germany to shoot Inglourious Basterds.
Where did you guys shoot?
We shot in Berlin and a bit in Paris.
Had you traveled before then? Like
I
outside
had,
the country?
but I had. I'd had the opportunity a couple times, but that was a very special trip to be in Europe shooting a Quentin Tarantino movie. And that one I was able to take advantage of traveling around.
I don't even know what the question here is, but it's got to be weird to be in Germany and on a movie set, you've got swastikas and you're Jewish. Mm-hmm. What was that? Did that fuck with your head at all? Or
it didn't fuck with my head because I knew we weren't making a Nazi propaganda film.
No, not at all.
And,
but like,
right. Like I'm saying, like what we were shooting was an empowering film, right? Especially because I knew how it ended.
Of course.
No, this is, and that, by the way, far beyond me, like, we had a tremendous amount of German actors in the film. And, I remember talking to a few of them, like, hey, what is the feel amongst the German acting community when somebody wants to do another World War II movie? How does this feel for you guys? And they had the exact same sentiment, which is, you're not going to find a whole lot of actors who are willing to do a revisionist history. Hey, no, the Nazis were the good guys.
Right.
Movie.
Yeah.
But they're like, look, it's a part of our, world history. There is a definite sense of regret on the part of from the younger generation, on the part of the older generation that committed these atrocities against not just the Jews, but so many other countries and the world at large. And I'm happy to say that based on my conversations, it seems like every young kid who grows up in Germany is taught a pretty fair version of how it all went down. And it is our responsibility to make sure nothing like that ever happens again. And so they're okay doing it as long as it's something that shows, hey, the Nazis were not the good guys. And so it didn't bother me, the swastikas, because none of them were, we're showing
they're not real. They're not real.
They're not real, and we're showing it in the story as, they're still the bad guys.
So you're doing Bastards, and like you mentioned, it's Brad Pitt starring in this movie.
Yeah.
And he's picked a very specific type of character.
And our battle plan
will be that of an Apache resistance. We will be cruel to the Germans.
So you're on day one of the set, and you see how he's playing. What was the guy's name?
Aldo Rain.
Aldo Rain. Give me them scalps. He's got
Yeah.
like this kind of thing where he's talking. How do you take it in going, I think they know what they're doing. How does he, what were your thoughts?
So we had, because only Quentin could get something like this, he got the studio to pay for 2 full weeks of rehearsal before we started the movie.
Damn.
So for those who don't know, when the studio asks an actor to be somewhere, that's when they start paying them. And so to have all that cast in Berlin for 2 weeks being paid without shooting a frame of film, in their mind, that's just setting money on fire. So to illustrate to people just how rare something like that is. But that's what we got. And so we were all there, and we started with a big table read with everybody doing all their roles. And then he broke us down into the scenes we were going to be in, just the actors in our scenes. And so we rehearsed as the Bastards with Brad over several different days. And so that's when I got to hear the voice first, was in these rehearsals. And it was clear that Brad and Quentin had already worked together on their own to find that voice. And I was taken by it right away. I mean, they had this kick-ass backstory for Brad. Quentin wanted all of us to develop these backstories for our characters, which we all did. And, Brad had this very cool one. And here, I'll give you a little fun piece of trivia for the movie. So Aldo Rain's character has a mark, a big scar on his neck that is never addressed in the film. And the backstory they had created for that scar was that, Aldo Rain says he's an Appalachian boy, direct descendant of the mountain man Jim Bridger. And so he's from the deep South. And the story was he, maybe 10 years earlier in the 30s, had seen a couple of KKK guys who were trying to lynch a black guy. And he's not going to stand for that, so he got in there and he stopped them. But not before they beat the crap out of him. And they, the guy was able to get away, but they got Aldo and they strung him up from a tree. And they let him hang there for a little bit, and he pulled and yanked on the rope, causing that horrible scar before they cut him down and said, you do that again next time, we're not going to cut you down. And so that's a backstory that is never going to be spoken of.
Right.
Never going to make it into the movie, but we all knew it. And I know in Quentin's mind, because he thinks of everything as a novel, if he ever wrote the novelization like he did with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Right.
You'd find that backstory in there for sure. But I remember us learning that backstory and thinking like, wow, now that informs my character so much more of why everyone in this unit respects the hell out of their lieutenant. Like, we know that story. The audience doesn't, but we know it, and we know he's got our backs, is kind of the thing. And so I thought it was a great tool for us to all know each other's backstories, not just have them for ourselves.
How did you find working with this guy whose name is Brad Pitt, who's this huge star? What type of guy was he like to work with?
I will tell you, it was upsetting to quickly realize just how cool and funny and nice this fucking guy was. I was like, God, it's not just that you're unbelievably handsome and successful. That wasn't enough. You've also got to be a really nice dude and fucking hysterical. Like, it was, I said that to his face, by the way, at one point. And so, he could not have been a better co-star in every sense of the word. He could not have been a better leading man for our little group. Like, he protected us when he had the opportunities to. And so
what do you mean by that? For how did he protect you?
What I mean by that is I can't give specifics. There was a scene where an angle that was being requested could have put someone at risk in a non-safe way. And some people were game for it, others weren't. And he picked up on that vibe. And rather than let it become a thing, he just said, you know what, I don't want to do that. Knowing if he says it, Quentin's going to come up with something different. That just struck me as a guy who knows his role and beyond just the role he's acting in.
Okay, I know we're running along here, but it's your fault because of your career. You did a couple episodes of NCIS with all the guys from JAG, so that's the closest we've ever been to working together.
Yep.
I got to ask you about this because I was fascinated by this, didn't quite understand it at the time, but you will know exactly how to explain it to me. What the fuck is I'm Poppy? I mean, I remember...
Here's the problem, Patrick. I can't explain it to you because I've never understood it. It's like there are actors in Chris Nolan movies.
Right?
Robert Pattinson famously talked about it. He's like, I shot that whole movie and I still don't understand it. Like, Nolan tried several times to explain to me what was going on. He's like, nope. He gave me my motivations for every scene. We got the stuff we needed, and that's that. And I kind of have a similar vibe with it's Poppy.
Hi, I'm Poppy.
She's perfect. So, Poppy, we wanted to talk to you today about a TV show. Your TV show.
Ooh.
I took a lovely meeting with Poppy and her producer, director, and we talked about it, and he explained, like, you know, it's very surreal, it's very heightened, it's this, that, the other. They sent me videos that they'd already made for me to watch, and every time I watched, I went, this is art. There's no two ways about it. This is art, and I know this is going to hit people in a certain way. It is not art for me.
If you've never seen it, what it was, I don't remember. It was a very specific time at the time of YouTube and the internet where Poppy was a character, but they were trying to either make it so it's like either is she a computer character or is she not? Is she real? Is she not? And then it would be like 20-minute videos of just droning music with her staring at the camera. And then they did this show that you're in. I mean, was it, I mean, you give a great example. Was it like Pattinson where you're walking through it going, just tell me what I need to do? And
I mean, for better or worse, yeah. Like so my character thankfully is a little bit more real world based. So for me, I was just acting in, you know, set the scene for me and I will deliver what you want in a real world based fashion. Like I'm a network guy or producer and I'm very flustered and I'm not getting what I'm wanting and I'm screaming in the control booth. And my scenes made sense to me.
You get to shout to them, she needs more wins.
I think something like that. Yeah, she needs more wins. Look at you. No, I was like, she needs more light. Why? Where's Poppy's light? It was something like that. And like, it was super fun. Like, we had fun. But I remember when they sent it to me to look at, I went, oh my God, I could not explain this in an interview if asked. And here we are.
Right. Here we are.
Years after the fact that I'm like, look, man, not all art is going to make sense to everyone.
Okay. So moving on to the final kind of question area before we get to the questions is Kevin Pollak Chat Show. Now, this is, I'm going to say probably the first podcast. I mean, I don't know what the literally is, but it is the first one I remember.
There were a few. There were a handful of others that predate us. Never Not Funny with Jimmy Pardo. I think Adam Carolla already had one. But we launched in March of 2009, which was 6 months before Marc Maron launched WTF. So we did get the jump on our pal Mark. And our hook was live streaming video. Those interviews were done live. So we were able to have our audience interact in real time and ask real questions that would come into...
That's difficult to do now.
It is difficult to do now. And we were real pioneers on that. And And I'm so proud to have been a part of that, and proud of Kevin and our producer, Jason Kalkanis. He had me on the first episode. He had me and LeVar Burton were the guests on the very first episode.
Classic Merv Griffin Deus right there.
There you go. And so after that first episode, like while they were doing it, it was this unbelievably complicated live show with so many moving parts. And I realized he needs more hands to make this thing happen the way we want to do it. And so I just started showing up in the studio on my own after that every single week just to help.
Wow.
And then that quickly turned into me getting my own camera, my own microphone, jumping in, joining. I took on the official producer title not long after. And so that's how that started and then continued for about 10 years. We did 400 episodes over 10 years.
I can tell you, I can't imagine that type of grind because I know what I'm doing here just by myself, and it's like it's exhausting.
Yeah.
My relationship with Kevin is I don't have a relationship. I don't know him, but I don't think he likes me.
What?
I saw he did an episode of Dinner for Five with Jon Favreau, and obviously Jag is a ripoff of A Few Good Men and Top Gun.
Sure.
It's not like we're hiding it. And I would be the Kevin Pollak character. And I kind of got his review of my performance was like an eye roll, like this is the guy they get.
Okay.
So like, all right, well, I appreciate that. Having said that, I'm a huge fan who like around, like you say, Richard Jeni, Kevin Pollak, it's like they're the same era of stand-up. And he's such a good impersonator. A just really talented guy.
But I don't think he doesn't like you as a person. Come on.
Well, I appreciate that. Okay. We'll be back after these messages. Hey, I'm Patrick Labyorteaux, and I play an actor on TV, and I've been doing this for a long, long time. And I know what it's like if you are in a class with people, and sometimes you just want to have that one-on-one connection with the person that you're working with to go over, I don't know, a particular scene, or maybe you have an audition, or maybe you just want the privacy to try stuff that you don't really know is going to work and not have anyone look at you. Well, I have the perfect solution for you. It's called One-on-One with Patrick Labyorteaux. You can book your time at workingactorsschool.com, and it's just me and you for an hour going over whatever it is you want to work on, breaking down the script, talking about character, figuring out your intention, the spine of the scene, everything that goes in to making a dynamite performance. So if you're interested in acting and want that one-on-one personal attention, check out One-on-One with Patrick Labyorteaux. You can find all the information you need at workingactorsschool.com. Act 4, questions. Okay, so here we are in the questions, the last part of this. Thank you for your time. Thank you for participating. Number one, these are called Tina's Got to Know, because my wife Tina came up with all these questions. Number one is, that's showbiz. What would you say is the most Hollywood moment in your life?
Oh my God. The most Hollywood moment in my life. My first film premiere, which would have been Man on the Moon. Came out in 1999, December of 1999.
Jim Carrey movie?
Jim Carrey movie, Milos Forman directed. I knew Judd was very friendly with Jim Carrey. And so I knew that movie was coming out, and I'd never been to, I had, but not in the right way. I'd never been to a real Hollywood premiere. And I knew that movie was going to have one. And I started needling Judd about that months ahead of time, because I really wanted to go to that premiere. And
your career is very intentional. You've said many times, like with Quentin and with Judd and with all these people, it's not like, Sam just sort of happened to be there. It's like you've been planning a lot of this stuff. That's really
thank you. And I'm telling you the stories of the times it worked. There's been plenty of needling and seed planting that led to nothing, but you got to try, man. I sleep better knowing I tried. And so I kept planting the seeds with him. Come on. Oh, no, let's go. Bring me to +1. And that wound up being, he brought the whole cast to the Man
still
in the Moon
works.
premiere.
Yeah.
It was like a Friday night. And I remember a giant stretch limo picked us up from our sound stages.
Wow, that's Hollywood,
and brought us to the premiere. And it was still in the old days on at Mann's Chinese, Grauman's Chinese, whatever we want to call it, where the limousines would pull up to the front of the theater.
Oh man!
And the door would open
nice.
of the limo, and you'd get out. You'd walk out of the car and up the red carpet and do the whole thing. And that, for me, I don't know that I'd call that necessarily maybe the most Hollywood, but that's the most memorable. Like, I remember.
Of course. Oh my God.
Like, we got out of that
premiere
limo.
in Hollywood?
And there's people screaming, and there's photographers and video and everything. And we walk out, and sure, people didn't know who we were because Freaks and Geeks wasn't a big hit or anything. But we walked out, and I felt like, holy shit. That's awesome. Is no wonder people get addicted to this. Right? You know, no wonder people spend their whole lives chasing this level of fame and attention and fun.
That's Showbiz Part 2. What's the most embarrassing Hollywood moment in your life?
On Freaks and Geeks, we had to do I had to do a scene where I had a ventriloquist dummy, a figure, if you will. And I was always pretty good about learning my lines quickly. But the problem that I didn't realize I was going to have was part of my ability to remember my lines so quickly was someone else is doing 50% of that scene with me. They have the other half of the lines. And even if I momentarily forget my line, the line they're going to say is going to help my brain remember what my next line is. Oh, no. You see where I'm going with this, Patrick. So I had to do this big ventriloquist scene, and I did not realize it was going to be first up. I thought we were going to get the other side first. We were going to get the room, and I would have time with the sides in my hand off camera to do my lines and the dummy lines.
Work it out.
And I'd work it out, and I'd get there, and then an hour or two later, we'd turn around and get me. And I show up on set, and this shot is set up to get my coverage first. And
it's kind of mean, actually. If I'm setting my day, why would you start with that anyways? But okay.
You know, they had their reasons, I'm sure, and that was certainly, it never would have crossed my mind to even speak up and ask, "Hey, can we start on the other side first?" I was way too green.
No, I mean
at that point still. So we blocked it and for rehearsal, and it didn't occur to me they were going to do that first. So when I get there, that's what they're expecting. And I jump in and I'm not doing well. And I'm calling for a lot of lines. I'm doing a lot of, okay, do over. And it's all me. I'm 100% of the dialogue. And it is bad. It's not going well, and it's very bad, and it's very embarrassing. And Judd pulls me aside and says, "I don't think you're ready to shoot this scene." And I said, "I think you're right." He says, "You don't want me to use any of that, even the redos, the whatever. So what we're going to do right now is you're going to go away with a PA, and you're going to work on these lines, and we are going to turn the cameras around, and we are going to start getting the reaction shots without you being here. And I'm going to give you 30 minutes. And when you come back, I need you to know all this." And I said, okay. And I went and I worked very diligently, very hard for 30 nonstop minutes with a very nice PA who helped trade the lines back and forth with me until I knew both the this and that and this and that and this and that. And then I went back in. They were ready for me. We turned around. We shot it. We did it great. Everything went very smoothly, and we were able to move on. But I mean, that cost us a good 40 to 60 minutes of maybe even more of me trying, failing, and then them resetting, and then having to set back up to get me again. So I'm being kind. It was probably 2 hours we lost that day. And so after that, and we got it, Judd pulled me aside and said, "That can never happen again." And I don't just mean on this set. I mean on any set you're ever on. Wow. You have a very limited responsibility as an actor, but knowing your lines inside and out is chief among them. You can't let that be a thing ever again. You get one free pass on that here, and that's it. It was such an embarrassing, humbling experience. You had better believe, sir, it has never happened again. Not only do I know my lines, I know everyone's lines going into the next day. Like, I have committed those sides to memory.
Terrifying. Okay, number 3, show me the money. What's your biggest missed financial opportunity?
God, I really try hard not to dwell on that. That sort of thing. It's
Sure.
so I've been a gambler.
What's your
my whole
biggest
life.
failure, Sam?
Yeah, right. No, I've been a gambler my whole life, and if you're gonna do that, when you make the decision that you made, you have to trust that you are making the best possible decision with all the available information you have at that moment. Yes, things may change later. Yes, that may have been the worst possible decision, but you have to have the confidence to know that at the time it was absolutely the right decision. And I had one pilot season where some fucking how I had 3 different pilots want to test me at the network level.
Wow.
And
that's,
as you
that's
know,
a good pilot season.
It was a great pilot season. You have to order them. You have to decide which one you want. You have to ask the others, will they take you in second position? Will they take you in third position? And so ultimately, no, they wouldn't. So make your pick. That's the one you test for. Better hope you get it.
Yeah.
And, the others, and so I, for my own sanity, I won't say the titles. I chose the wrong one. As it turned out.
There you go. It happens.
But it happens, and I have no regret about it because I know with 100% certainty at the time the information I had, I chose the right one for me.
All right, number 4, show and tell. As a teenager, what's your favorite poster in your room, and how'd you get it?
My favorite poster in my room as a kid was my... There's 2 answers to this. My Escape from New York movie poster, which I still hangs in my home. That was one of the first movie posters I ever bought for myself as a kid. I've always loved movies. I've always loved movie posters, movie art. I think it's super cool. And I remember I used money that I earned as an actor to buy an original Escape from New York movie poster for $75 from the Colony in New York City. Those old school will remember the Colony in New York City. And I was so proud of it. And I bought a nice frame for it and I hung it in my room and I loved that poster. And again, still in my house today. Still love that poster today. Second answer to that is when my brother and I were kids, when we were little, like I said, I loved movie posters. And so did my brother. And back in those days, you'd get movie posters in the mail. You'd get catalogs in the mail from companies that sold, originals and reprints of movie posters. And these catalogs, you'd thumb through them, and sometimes they'd show a picture of what it looked like. Sometimes it was just the title. And if you wanted to see what it looked like, you'd have to write to the company. You'd have to send them a thing with like $5 in it. Okay, we'll send you a small picture of what it looks like.
Oh my God.
And then
back in the day,
oh man. And so there was a listing for a Revenge of the Jedi poster. And if you know movie posters, that was the original title of the film. They printed a couple of posters that said that before Lucas decided he wanted to change the title to Return of the Jedi. And so those first batch of posters became instant collector's items because there really weren't many. And so we saw a listing for Revenge of the Jedi poster in there. And everything else had a price listed next to it. $10, $25, $50. And this one said, call for price.
Ooh, they knew.
So for Hanukkah one year, my mother says to my brother and I, you can each pick one movie poster out of this catalog, value up to $50 for each of you. And so we're going through it. Oh, there's that, the other. And then we stumble onto that Revenge of the Jedi. And my brother and I say, oh my God, call for price. And we say, well, what if it's more than $50? Well, if it's 100, we'll each own it. It'll be for both of us. We'll put it in the hallway between our bedrooms. So we call for price. And the guy says, yeah, we don't have one in stock. And if we do, they usually go for about $2,000. And we said, okay, thank you, sir. So that was the Holy Grail, this Revenge of the Jedi poster. I mean, we were 12, 13 years old when we had that conversation. And then I'm out here in LA. I've been working for a few years and I decide I want to start building up my collection. And I go into L'Imagerie, which is a pretty famous art poster shop here in LA, and Debbie, the owner there, I start asking her about Revenge of the Jedi, and she's like, "Oh no, do you want me to track one down for you?" And I said, "Yeah, let me see what you can get." And she found me a mint Revenge of the Jedi, which at that point in my life I was able to afford. And I'm sorry to say it cost a little more than $2,000 since time and the quality of that print was so high, but I have no regrets about it. And that is my favorite film poster that I own because of what it represents for me in my life, going from 12, 13 to when I was about 20 when I got that.
Wow. It's really interesting. Number 5, Showdown. What's the best thing you've ever done and the worst thing you've ever done in acting? So what's that for you?
Oh, man. Well, okay. It's funny. I think I might have different answers to that, to like the best thing, because I think the best thing I've ever done is probably Inglourious Basterds. I mean, that is a film that consistently makes, top 10 lists of films, and I think 50 years from now people will still be talking about it. And you could probably say the same thing about Freaks and Geeks. I mean, I'm thrilled to have been a part of both, and I think they will both stand the test of time for decades to come. But the thing I'm most proud of, there's a movie I did that no one has seen called Drones, which we shot on a shoestring budget in like 12 days in Louisiana in 2008. Right before, it's the film I did right before Inglourious Basterds, was this movie. And I think actually I recently learned it is available on streaming somewhere, but it was one of the better written scripts that I've ever gotten to really sink my teeth into. And I have a sizable role in it. And I think it's a really great movie. And I'm so proud of what we did with so very little on such a limited amount of time. And so that I'm probably most proud of that. So
excellent answer.
Yeah. Worst thing? That is honest to God. There are so many things on my resume that at the time, Patrick, when I said yes,
let me say it this way. Instead of like being, because we've all been in bad projects.
Yeah.
What's the one thing that you look at when you look at your work and go, no, I fucked that up. I wasn't good.
That's a great question. I did a short film. I feel bad talking about a thing no one's gonna be able to watch. I agreed to do a short film playing a very different character than the ones I'm used to playing. This guy is supposed to be a heavy. This guy is he's a very physically imposing guy.
Okay.
And he's supposed to be scary. And the way it was written, the language he's using wasn't especially scary. Like, it's clearly written that like he's supposed to like physically intimidate women and like the writer director was a very nice guy, very sharp guy. And I mean, he approached me for this role. And I remember chatting with him about it and saying like, do you really think I'm the guy for this? Yeah, no, you're going to put your own spin on it. You're going to make your own thing. And I can't watch that film. I probably watched it twice. And every time I do, I'm like, this is ludicrous. I am so miscast in this role. Like, this is
I get it.
This is so not correct.
Playing somebody scary is really a tough job.
Yeah.
Okay, moving to the different area. No show. What part did you want but didn't get?
A good friend of mine, a guy named Josh Zuckerman. He and I, for a number of years, you have this, every actor has this. It's always the guy you see at every audition you're at.
Yep.
And if we're down to a few actors, I know it's going to be me and Josh. Maybe a third guy. Like, it's this every time. It gets down to the two of us. Half the time it goes his way. Half the time it goes my way. And we're just destined to do this until either one of us blows up or both of us die. And he and I, it was like that for the two of us for young Dr. Evil in Austin Powers 3.
Wow.
It was down to the two of us. And
Got it.
I wanted that part so fucking bad.
Yeah.
Because I loved the Austin Powers movies. I thought I could do this. I felt so good about what I was doing in my audition. Everything looked like it was working. And I didn't go my way. And Josh and I are buds. And I was like, I saw what he did and I went, yeah. I mean, look, you're great. I would have also been the same level.
Right. Yeah.
I don't think what we did was that dramatically different. And I think that, honest to God, could have been a fucking coin flip. But he's great. He's great in everything he does. But that one still to this day bums me out.
Favorite show? What movie has influenced you the most? Like that you like really means a lot to you?
The answer to that question is A Clockwork Orange. And the reason isn't anything insane. It's not like, oh no, he's a sadist. No, it's when 11 was a big age for me, man. When I was 11 years old was I can't tell this story without telling it properly. When I was 11 years old, my father got on Jeopardy.
Oh wow.
And he didn't win, I'm sorry to say. But he shot it over the summer, and then it was going to air that fall. And my father, this is 1993, he wanted as many videotapes of that episode of Jeopardy. So he didn't want to just, tape it once and then make a copy of that tape because you lose quality, as we all remember,
right.
Those of us who are over 40. And so he wanted multiple VCRs in the house, all taping it. Now, I'd been asking my parents for a television in my bedroom since I was 8. And they always, no. When you're a teenager, maybe, if you're good. And so when I was 11 years old, as a surprise gift, there was suddenly a television and a VCR in my bedroom a week before my father was on Jeopardy. Wink, wink. This was not for me. This was for him. So that's how I got a television in my bedroom when I was 11 years old, with a cable box.
That's the Holy Grail.
That's the Holy Grail. So, I mean, starting that night, I'm up every night now until 1, 2 in the morning watching everything and anything I can get my eyes on. And I'd grown up as an appreciator of movies, as a lover of film. We went to the movies all the time. But my parents were taking me to movies they thought were appropriate for me.
Right.
And when I now had unrestricted access, one night, I remember it was a school night, and it's almost 1 in the morning. And I'm strolling across, and I come on the opening titles of A Clockwork Orange.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm immediately drawn in. And I get so engrossed in this movie. That is not a quick movie. That's a 2.5-hour film.
Yeah.
And next thing I know, it's 3:30 in the morning. And I've been watching the whole movie.
Yeah.
I can't believe what I'm seeing. Not just the content of the film, but just the fact that I did not know you could tell stories like this. I did not know. Wait, there are other movies like this that are horrifying and gripping and insane and take all these twists and turns you don't expect. That changed my view of what movies could be. And that was a defining moment for me where I started seeking out all the films that I didn't think I was supposed to see. After that. By the way, shortly after that was Reservoir Dogs. Because I'd heard people talking about it at the video store. And every time I tried to rent it, the guy at the video store would say, "You're not going to like this one. You're not ready for this one yet." Boy, was he wrong.
That's a great answer. I mean, in relationship to that, show me again, what's the movie that you rewatch the most? What's your comfort movie?
Die Hard.
That's a great.
This was like an argument I got into with BJ Novak when we were shooting Bastards, because I'm pretty sure Die Hard is the film I've seen the most times in my life. And he was like, "How many times?" And I went, conservatively, 300. And he said, "There's no way that's right. You're way overestimating." And I'm like, "I'm not. I've never been diagnosed with autism, but there was a stretch of my adolescence where I would get home from school and I had the Die Hard on VHS and I would just put it in and let it play. And it was just there while I'm doing my homework. I'd take breaks. I'd watch. I'd do pieces of the dialogue. I'd come back. And I mean, that was every day for at least a year. Obviously not counting weekends, but I mean, that's 5 days a week. How many months are you in school? 9 months? Yeah. And I mean, that's just the base.
Mr. Takagi
that's just the base
as for the rest of his life.
As an adolescent. I'm like, I'm now well into my 20s. No, I think it's 300. And since then, I'm going to add at least another 100 to that.
So
probably
around like on YouTube and stuff with the movie podcast and everything, they have this question, which seems to me to be ridiculous, but I'll ask you. Is it or is it not a Christmas movie?
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
It 100% is. And if you need nothing else to tell you, nothing else. Oh, but this part of the movie, that part of the movie, this part of the movie. The ending credits music is Let It Snow.
Exactly.
Okay? There's jingle bells throughout the film. The big murder
Not to
at
mention
the end.
they got the title from Shane Black.
There you go. The murder at the end. He uses Christmas wrapping tape to strap the gun to his bare back. There's Christmas. Now I have a machine gun. Ho, ho, ho. Come on. It's
a great movie. I get it. I totally get it. And okay, finally, we're here at the end. Number 9, Show Me Some Love. Sam, what's your favorite performance of mine?
Oh, buddy, you have so many. You have so many great roles. But the thing that I saw you in first, which is, you get anchored. The thing you see them in first, you're always like, oh, it's the guy from that. Oh, it's the guy from that. And then you learn their name and you're like, oh, he's been great in all these, but Summer School, my friend.
Summer School's a good one. That's
Summer
a good
School's
one.
that I, in this life, have gotten to know you and Dean and Richard Horvitz.
Yep.
I can't tell you.
Weren't you the interviewer on the chat show when Dean was
I
on?
was. When we had Dean on, I was guest hosting for Kevin and I was able to get Dean on, and that was so much fun for me. And the fact that if you told 12-year-old me, hey, one day you're going to be very friendly with at least 3 of these guys. and you'll get to be on NCIS with Mark Harmon.
Right, Mr. Shoop himself.
Come on. Come on. No, that's, so my favorite is got to be Summer School.
But so I appreciate that. Okay, Sam, thank you, man. This was awesome. Thanks for coming on the show. Real great seeing you. And likewise. I guess we'll hang out next time at the Whiskey, whenever that is.
I'll see you again at the Whiskey or the Ralph's in Sherman Oaks.
It's the Patrick Labyorteaux Show. Patrick Labyorteaux. He's the one you gotta know.
Hey, everybody. I'm so glad that you're enjoying the podcast and checking it out. It is an audio podcast wherever you get your audio podcast, and it's a video podcast over on YouTube. My socials are all patrick.labyorteaux. And that is on Instagram, on YouTube, on TikTok. I'm everywhere. If you want information on the school, you can go to workingactorsschool.com. We have classes going all the time. It's a lot of fun. I suggest you check it out. Hey, we'll see you next time.
It's the Patrick Labyorteaux Show. Patrick Labyorteaux. He's the one you gotta know.